Take regular chess, kick its rules to the curb, come up with your own ideas, and voila! You have freestyle chess, or as we call it, Chess 960. I know it can be super tricky to win a game with different rules, but hey, what else are we here for? Number 5, mirror, mirror on the board. Here's a fun one to begin with. Okay, so remember how in normal chess, copying your opponent's moves is considered, lazy? It's almost seen as something as lame as answering every exam question with same as above. But believe it or not, freestyle is where the script flips. Mirroring actually works. For a while at least. Since the starting positions are as random as ever, you're not exactly doing your opponent a favor by copying them, you're actually neutralizing their ideas. Grandmaster Niklas Huschenbeth suggests that this is one of the best ways to avoid blundering the first few moves, especially if you're playing black. Allow me to explain. 1. E4, E5. 2. NC3, NC6. 3. BC4, BC5. You're making the clever choice of copying. If your opponent breaks symmetry too soon with 4 D3, what do? Without hesitation, respond. 4 NF6. Suddenly their center wobbles, you're way ahead of them, and their originality is easily punished. But here's the thing, this little plan isn't exactly a forever strategy. At some point you'll just have to break symmetry and actually play chess. Take it from Magnus Carlsen, he himself showed why. In a Grenke Chess Classic game, he crushed an opponent who failed to use mirroring right at the beginning. Instead of choosing to calmly copy, they played something creative and got demolished in less than 30 moves. Number 4, the queen trap. One of the things I find funny in freestyle is how your queen might start in a position so awkward she looks like she's been grounded or something. Pawns try to do everything they can to block her exits, and while you're busy throwing your knights and bishops at different ends, she can get stuck. The point here is, if you don't plan your queen's early development, she becomes dead weight, and your opponent's queen will dominate the board. And you know how lousy the game can go once you've lost your queen. Even elite players like Vincent Kamer have fallen victim to this very trap. This happened when he once played a Chess 960 game where his queen just sat there while Magnus Carlsen's queen roamed freely, slowly and cleverly creating threats everywhere. And before he knew it, it was too late to pull himself out of that mess. Take a look at this. 1 D4 D5, 2 QD2 QD7. Both queens are doing this awkward thing where they block their bishops. If your opponent makes the bold choice of tossing their queen out early with 3 QG5, you unleash the 3 H6, 4 QG3 NF6. Suddenly their queen is found running away like a robber caught mid-burglary. Now, this doesn't exactly mean you only keep moving the queen. Anything overdone can be just as bad. And this applies to overusing your queen early as well. In Chess 960, her unusual placement can tempt you to throw her out a little too soon. Number 3, the Knight Fork Factory. Knights aren't exactly everyone's favorite piece, and yes, we do agree that they are already annoying in regular chess, but hey, freestyle has more opportunities for these guys. You'd like them better here for their unpredictable starting squares. You find it hard to believe how deadly they can be. Your opponent is so busy trying to understand where everything is that they might leave undefended squares right in front of your knights. You wouldn't have it served to you this easy in regular chess. This makes early knight forks absolutely devastating. A very common trick is to develop your knights quickly, aiming for squares where they threaten multiple pieces at once. Confused? Let me help you with that. 1 E4 E5, 2 NC3 D6, 3 ND5. Now your knight eyes C7 and F6. Let's hope black carelessly plays 3 C6. You jump 4 NC7+, forking king and rook. Early game chaos means undefended squares everywhere, and your knight becomes the one to wreck their setup before they've even unpacked. Since many pieces are awkwardly placed at the start, a single knight move can create a ruckus. One which you could use to your advantage. One fork can win you a rook, force your opponent to shuffle pieces around or even trap their king in the center. Make them run as you watch their confidence evaporate, and soon they'll realize your knight is wrecking their entire setup. Number 2, the Bishop Sniper Attack. Oh, this one I'd consider a personal favorite. Bishops, like most important pawns in freestyle, start in weird places too. They are often found staring at pawns or blocked by knights. You know what could help a mess like this? You know how to clear the diagonals quickly, because this is when they become snipers, my friends. Many players take these bishops for granted in the opening because they're too busy developing their other pieces, which means you can quietly line up one for a deadly diagonal shot. Here's a little demonstration. 1. c4 e5, 2. g3 d6, 3. bg2 be7. Looks pretty pleasant, am I right? But if your opponent castles too early with 4, you unleash 4 bh3. Suddenly their rook falls for the trap. Their king as vulnerable as ever, and your bishop has turned into a long-range assassin before making even the 5th move. One idea so powerful is to aim a bishop at your opponent's king while they're still trying to castle. Why? Only because the starting positions are random. Players have a tough time trying to remember if their king is safe. They'd forget more often than not to make sure their king isn't vulnerable. That's when it's your bishop's cue. Here the bishop suddenly cuts through the board and makes sure that every single one of their plans is ruined. In this one very memorable game, Carlsen's opponent failed so miserably only because he ignored a simple diagonal threat. Wanna guess how many moves it took him to lose? It only took 5 moves and their position collapsed. Number 1. Castling Chaos. Castling is already a very tricky concept in Chess 960. Why? Again, it all boils down to the fact that the pieces don't start in their usual spots. Players can very easily forget they can still castle, which leads to very sloppy king safety. What does this mean? This creates opportunities to launch surprise attacks before your opponent has figured out how to tuck their king away. I'll tell you the best way to avoid this. A common trap is to press your opponent's king before they can castle. Since they're unfamiliar with their setup, they might delay castling too long, giving you time to open the center and attack. On the flip side, some players rush to the castle without even making sure it's safe. The blunder they make is by moving their king straight into a firing line. Thank God they do this, because this is where we flip the tables. Punishing this mistake is one of the most satisfying feelings in freestyle. If you've tried this out before, you know what I'm talking about. Here's a clear-cut example. 1. e4 c5, 2. nf3 d6, 3. bb5 plus bd7. White castles queenside immediately with 4, thinking the king's safe. You reply 4 qa5, targeting a2 and their king, who they assume to be so safe. Within 5 moves, castling has gone from protection plan to death sentence. One of the best feelings is when you watch your opponent's face as they realize their safe king is now a hen waiting to be butchered. Castling in freestyle is more of a mental test, as I'd like to call it. If you understand the rules better than your opponent, you can trap them into leaving their king in danger, or even trick them into castling straight into trouble. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. If you found this video helpful, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click on that tiny bell icon on the side to stay notified and updated on all of our upcoming content. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next one.